filled with shame and guilt, often you become the person to prove that you aren't a bad person.
Um, I- Andy, speaking, of course, with Andy Tennant, director, and Isabelle Fuhrman, star of Unit 231. Thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it.
234,
234.
234.
What did I say?
231
231.
with
Two.
234.
That's just further down the aisle. I
That's the
apologize.
sequel.
This is a
That's the
sequel.
sequel.
Listen, there's a lot of storage units.
Exactly.
There's Danny Houston in that one. We got Jack in the next one.
I apologize. I do. Honestly, this film is so much fun. It really is. Andy, what excited you to tell this story? Where'd it come from?
It was a miracle for me. Nobody ever offers me a thriller. So when the producer gave it to me, Blythe, I had worked with her on another film with Shirley MacLaine and Jessica Lange. That was also an independent film. So she asked me if I wanted to do a thriller, and I was like, hell yeah. And then I read the script, and Derek Steiner had done an amazing job. I didn't see the twist coming. It kept my interest the entire way and then delivered, the ending is gangbusters. So I was thrilled. It was a solid story with great characters, and it was just a wonderful opportunity for me.
It really is fun, and without saying the twist, I didn't see it coming either. The film sort of flips itself
A couple
around in
times.
such an incredible way. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, Isabel, of course, you've been involved in horror and thriller genre before. What is it about that genre that keeps bringing you back?
I love working on movies that really make you question people and their intentions. I mean, that's what drives any of those stories forward. It's just like an extreme circumstance. And this movie was no different. I mean, I love twists and turns, and I think this genre, lends to that more than any other, to be completely honest. But also to step into the shoes of someone who is very much like the audience, kind of figuring this out and witnessing these circumstances in real time and figuring them out, and is unsure where she stands with Dawn's character and with Jack's character, and is really, decides for herself that she's not going to be the victim of this circumstance and fight her way through it, was a really exciting prospect for me. And to work with somebody like Andy, who I've looked up to and have watched all of his movies growing up, I was like, this is a no-brainer. This would be great.
You do such a great job, and like I said, the film really keeps moving and cooks. I would love to know from you both, though. There's something really interesting. There's a comment, again, without giving any spoilers, where somebody says we're all guilty of something, and I was wondering for you both, how do we know who the heroes and villains are in a world where we are all guilty of something in your mind?
Hmm. Great question. Um, well, I think part of the our job is to reflect, humanity and people in general. And I think that line is actually targeted at making somebody feel guilt and shame. And I think guilt and shame are the kind of the main drivers of an awful lot of bad behavior, and also really good behavior. Because if you're filled with shame and guilt, often you become the person to prove that you aren't a bad person, and so then you become this overachiever and all those things. So I always find that fascinating to kind of figure out why somebody is doing something, not just because it is convenient for the movie, but actually has some gravitas in the actual character development.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Um, Isabel, this is a film which is working basically in one location. I was wondering what that experience was like for you, and just before we wrap, how was that a challenge or was it freeing?
I mean, it's freeing in a lot of ways. I mean, you go to the same place, so you kind of get to know this location really well. You feel comfortable there. And for Laurie, I mean, this is supposed to be like her home is literally on the other side of the wall. I mean, this is where she grew up and where she's been her entire life. So, um, somebody just asked us a question earlier today, which is like you get to know all these little nooks and crannies and people there, and like who owns all of these units, and that was something that I remember when we were working on it, there's this sort of romanticism to it that she's got where she knows all the people who own all of the things in each of the different places, and they come in all the time. And this is where she grew up, where her family has kind of raised her. And on the outside, though, most people, myself included, you go to a storage facility, it's a pretty creepy place to be when you're by yourself, and it's freezing cold in there, and you hear something bump in somebody's unit. So to me, there was something about being in the same place that just kind of aided in terms of comfort. And I mean, we filmed in every single nook and cranny of that storage facility. I mean, geez. I mean, I remember even we were filming on the landing where I am crawling in the crawl space at some point. You could actually see other people's stuff. You're like looking down, you're like, oh wow, that's an interesting credenza. What is that doing in there?
Well, honestly, the film is just a blast. It really cooks with a fun twist at the end. I really appreciate the chance to chat with you both. Unit 234 is worth checking out.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you
Thanks
so
so much.
much.
Have a great day.
Thanks, Steve. You too. Have a good
Thanks.
one.
Bye-bye.